Today we're trying new beauty from Patrick Ta, Charlotte Tilbury, Westman Atelier, Saie Beauty, and Melt Cosmetics, including their brand new Mary Jane palette. We're also trying out a very hyped foundation from Guerlain, and we're gonna find out if it lives up to that hype or not. I love how this full face turned out, but there are definitely some hits and some misses here. If you're like me and you cannot get your hands on enough new makeup, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We're always trying new makeup here on the channel. Let's dive into this full face of first impressions. My skin has on moisturizer and sunscreen. I'm gonna start by trying this Glowy Super Gel from Saie Beauty. I've tried a few things from them before and liked them. This is a newer brand to Sephora. This is the shade Star Glow. I don't know, when I saw this, I just kind of felt drawn to it. I love glowy things, so I thought, let's try this out. It reminds me a lot of the Giorgio Armani Fluid Sheer that I've been just raving about. I use the shade 2. I just want to show, just look at these together and see kind of the similarities. Very close, but you can see the Fluid Sheer is over here and the Saie Beauty is over here. So the Armani Fluid Sheer is definitely got a little bit more of a tint to it, versus this one from Saie looks a little more opalescent, a little sheer, more sheer, a little lighter. So I'm gonna put this on the high points of my cheeks and let's just see what it does. That looks so wet and beautiful. I'm putting this under my makeup today because that's how I most like to use Fluid Sheer, and this is just kind of what it reminds me of. So I wanna test this out. Oh, I love that. It definitely does remind me of the Fluid Sheer. Now that it's on my cheeks, you've got that pearl glow. It looks very fresh and it's lighter, so I like that. I feel like that might actually play even better with my skin tone, especially right now because I have no self tanner on and I'm obviously very pale. Also, this is so much bigger than the Fluid Sheer. I mean, come on, there's like no size comparison here. This one is a full ounce, and with the Fluid Sheer you're getting 6/10 of an ounce, so that's almost twice as much. So we'll see how it looks once I put my foundation on. The foundation I'm trying today is the Guerlain Le Sensuel. I'm so bad at French, y'all. The Natural Glow Foundation. It claims to have a 16-hour wear. I picked up the lightest shade. I picked up also shade, I want to say 2 or 20, I can't remember now. I'll put it in the description box below. I picked up a separate shade from when I do self tan. Since I'm not right now, we're gonna try the lightest shade, OON, and see if this is gonna work. Oh, I love straight off the bat that this is a pump. That's fantastic. I was not sure. I've heard so many great things about this foundation, but I didn't watch any videos on it. I just have like heard in the atmosphere great things. I didn't want to go watch like anything in depth on it because I wanted to have a very authentic first impression, and then I'm gonna have a review later this week for you guys. Straight out of the gate, I'm a little nervous about the color. It looks a little too dark, but looks can be deceiving, so we're gonna see what happens once we get it on the face. This is the lightest neutral shade that they had. My fingers are so crossed. I'm gonna be using a brush to try this out. Let's see what we get. The color is actually good right now. As long as this doesn't oxidize, we should be okay. I was a little nervous when I saw it. It looked a little darker than my skin. Fingers crossed it doesn't oxidize. That's gonna be the real key, especially because there's a sunscreen in there. That's gonna be the big key. But again, I like it much better with the stippling. It looks really nice and natural on the skin, very glowy. I'm really excited about this. We're gonna find out. So we've done both cheeks now. On this side, I did more of a buffing motion, and over here, I did more of a stippling motion. I definitely think the coverage is better with the stippling motion. Now that I've got the whole face, I will say I feel like this is a little flat. To say that it's a natural glow, I don't know. I feel like it's natural for sure, but it just feels a little flat, especially for right now. We're spring, gonna go into summer soon. I don't know that this is something I would reach for a lot in the summer with this finish. Most of the glow I'm getting is on the high points of my cheeks, which I think is coming from the Saie, what is this called? This Glowy Super Gel. I think that's where most of the glow is coming from. So again, I'm gonna do a full review on this, but on my first impression, I'm I'm not super impressed. It's very nice. I don't see any texture issues. I don't see any patching. I don't see it clinging to any dry places. It's a nice, lovely foundation, but at this price point, I mean, I would just expect it to be nice. I would, you know, it's not really doing anything extra. For concealer, we're gonna use the Flex Concealer from Milk Makeup. I have the shade Porcelain. It is the lightest shade. Again, really crossing our fingers here about the shade. I think it's gonna work, but we will see. So right out of the gate, I love the shade match. I think it's fantastic. This is great for me that even as light as I am, this still brightens up my under eyes. That's sometimes hard to find a foundation shade that's gonna work for me under the eyes, just because I am already so light and I need something just a touch lighter for the under eyes. So I appreciate that. It feels very smooth. It goes on very nice, feels very hydrating. It moves around well. You can spread it out a little bit, goes a long way. The only thing I did notice was I had to touch up a couple spots where it pulled up a little bit of product under. That was only on the side where I used the sponge. Sometimes that happens. Some foundations concealers, I just prefer better with a brush. I definitely think I prefer this one better with a brush. But when I did go to fix that spot, I did notice that having to put on a little bit more on the second layer kind of caused it to break up a little bit, and I don't super love that. So again, just something we'll have to see as we go on through the month, use it a couple more times and find out if, you know, I adjust to using it or if it just doesn't quite work for me. I'm so excited for the contour bronzer we're gonna use today. This is the Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo from Patrick Ta. We're gonna use She's Statuesque. I loved his double take blushes, so I'm really excited to have this. Shade is perfect, and I'm pulling that up onto my cheekbone a little bit. That's something that I did in my most recent spring makeup tutorial, and I just loved the effect it gave. So I'm gonna try that again, and I think it's fantastic. Look at that. That is perfect shade, and it was smooth, no patchiness. Fantastic. I would not expect any less because I loved the cream blush formula and the powder duo that he did on the blushes. So I would 110% expect this formula to be just as good as that one. Love this. I'm gonna do my jawline, get around my forehead and maybe a little bit on the nose and see how that works out. Contour shades are so hit or miss, and this one is fantastic. Some things are marketed as contour shades and then I don't feel like they really are. This 100% is a contour shade. It's got the right balance of gray so that it shows up like a shadow, which on some, if you're as fair as I am, you know, it has to have that right balance. It has to have that right gray tone to it, but it can't go too far or you're gonna look ashy. If it doesn't go far enough, you're gonna look like you have mud on your cheekbones and up under your jawline. This is a fantastic color. This is fantastic. This is such a winner. Now we're gonna go in with the powder side, the powder bronzer. I'm really crossing my fingers that this shade is as great as the cream contour shade, because I absolutely love to go in with a cream contour and then use a powder bronzer. So if I can get that in one product, man, oh man, am I gonna be excited. Just taking a big fluffy brush from Hourglass Cosmetics, and I wanna get this around the outer edges of the face, just like the very outer edge of the contour, around my hairline. I'll go around the jawline and then get on my nose a little bit, kind of just hit those places that I want to warm up a little bit, that I would have like a natural sun. With the contour, we want to create shape, and with the bronzer, we want to create some warmth to the face, some sun-kissed, like natural, healthy look, like we've been out in the sun at some point. Although, I mean, for me, if I've been out in the sun, I'm sunburnt, but you know, that's the power of makeup. This shade is fantastic. This shade is fantastic. He knocked it out of the park with this. This is the perfect contour bronzer duo. I am ecstatic about this. Obsessed with this already. So excited. I feel like this is gonna go with me everywhere I go this summer, because you know what? Vaccinated girl summer, I'm getting out into the world. Dang it. Cheeks, we're gonna use one of the cream blush lights from Milk Cosmetics. This is the one polished that I picked up in the sale. It's a grapefruit shade, and I'm just excited because I've never owned a grapefruit shade. I'm gonna go in with my fingers first. I just like to try that and see what it do. what it do. Oh my gosh. I'm saying what it do, you guys, because I saw this post that was saying, oh, look, baggy pants. I'll put it on the screen. Baggy pants and Bennifer are back. Like, we are one Ja Rule featuring a Shanti song from 2004. And I was like, oh my God, yes. And I totally went and listened to like my old Ja Rule album on Spotify, not my actual album, but I had that CD. I would ride around with my cousin. He had a Mustang convertible and we would ride around listening to Ja Rule. And I just thought I was the coolest person in the world. Back in 2003, I just thought I was so cool, you guys. Like, you have no idea how cool I thought I was. So that tweet really took me back. So yeah, I just came out with what it do. I don't know why. Okay, this shade, beautiful. So this blends out like a dream. It's beautiful. I don't think it blends out as well as like the Rare Beauty cream blushes. That to me is like the height of blending out beautifully, but this does blend out really nicely, and this shade is fantastic. I feel like it's really flattering on me, and it kind of matches this shirt, which, full disclosure, is why I picked this shirt, because I thought it was going to match the blush. So far, I feel like the cheeks are killing it. The base, I'm like, whatever, but the cheeks, man, obsessed. I feel like this is a very flattering, like, adding the color back into our face is just so flattering. And there's definitely a glow to this blush, and the glowy gel really helping out with that. So, wow, I'm pleasantly surprised. For eyeshadow, we're actually trying a palette today, which is just so out of the norm for me. But when I saw this palette from Melt Cosmetics, I was like, wow, I really like the color scheme. I am always interested in their palettes, but the color schemes don't generally speak to me. This one spoke to me. There's so much taupe going on. I'm really excited to try it. We're gonna go in first with Mari, and we're gonna use that as like our transition shade with a big fluffy brush. Let's see. Oh, that blends really nicely, and it's a really good transition shade for my skin tone. Again, just such a nice taupe color. I love taupes, so happy about that. Now let's try to deepen it up a touch with Rubia. If you did not know, Rubia in Spanish means blonde. Blends very nicely, really nice transition shade. Again, that's just a deeper taupe. I love this tone. It's just so nice. It's cool, but not too cool. I feel like this is just a great, kind of like if you like neutrals and want to be able to keep them into the summer, this might be a really good palette for that. Next, I'm gonna pack Cali on the lid. Cali kicks up a good bit, but let's see what it looks like once we put it on. It might have been better for me to wet my brush. Shades that I have to use my finger for, I'm not a fan of. I feel like my fingers are too clunky to get my small lids. I don't love a shade if I have to use my finger with it. And this might be one of those that's better with a finger. We were doing so good until this one. I just wish it looked the way on my lid. Like, it's nice, but it definitely doesn't look as pretty on my lid as it did in the pan, and that kind of breaks my heart. I'm gonna try with my finger. It's definitely really creamy. This might just be a shade that you need to use your finger for, which would be fine if I didn't feel like my fingers were too clunky for that. And there's still a little bit of fallout using my finger, but you do get a better payoff. But I'm not for this. This just feels a little bit too creamy, a little bit too of a mess. I'm just not digging this. It's pretty, but the function of working with it is just a little more of a hassle. Literally just fell into my mouth. The function of working with this is a little more of a hassle than I really want to deal with. I just like things that like effortlessly work for me the way that I do my makeup. And the way that I do my makeup, unless I have like a cream shadow that I'm gonna like pack on my lid and then blend out, I don't want to be like sticking my finger into a powder eyeshadow palette and dealing with fallout, and I just don't want to do that. I can get this light reflectiveness from a cream shadow, and it's easier for me to work with, and I don't have to mess around with it as much. So a little bit disappointed in that. Also, now I want to go in, my thought was that I was going to use the shade Santa Maria over here to do like a shadow wing, and now I'm a little bit worried about, is that going to like fudge with this? Let's find out. Okay, so it didn't move around too much when I put the shadow wing on, and I really like this shade Santa Maria. This is beautiful. Seriously, such a beautiful shade. I feel like I could probably like using this palette. We'll see. We'll see if I actually end up reaching for it. I just really wish that Cali would have been a little bit easier to work with to get it packed onto the lid. It's just a little bit more of a hassle than I generally want to deal with when it comes to eyeshadow. I like for things to be pretty simple and easy. These colors are fantastically beautiful, but I had a good bit of fallout. The Cali shade, which I think is the most beautiful in the palette, was a little bit difficult to work with. Had some fallout. I just don't. To me, I know it might seem nitpicky if one little thing about a palette is off, but there are so many eyeshadow palettes out there. You don't have to settle for one thing being off. Like, you can truly have it all when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. You can have a beautiful color scheme, light reflectiveness. You can have like a foil look and also not have to deal with fallout or kick up. Like, you can have it all. So with so many options, you don't really have to settle. Before we finish up the lower lash line, let's go to brows. I have two new brow products to try. These are from Charlotte Tilbury. We've got the Brow Cheat in taupe. This is their Micro Precision Brow Pencil. And then we have Legendary Brows Micro Precision Tinted Brow Gel. And I got the shade taupe. I think this one was reformulated possibly because it says new, but I definitely have had a tinted brow gel from Charlotte Tilbury before. I think they just reformulated it. Let's start out with the pencil. I'm hoping that this is going to be really similar to my just absolute favorite, the Dior Brow Styler brow pencil that has like the tiny point, but immediately I know that it's not because look, we have a triangle point here on this. And what I like about the Dior is that it's just a very fine, like, circle tip, I guess. I'm just not the biggest fan of these triangular tips, but let's give it a try. Well, color me surprised. I actually really like this. It does give really nice, fine strokes. They look very natural, and I found that the triangle tip is fine enough, it's thin enough that you can really use the edge kind of sideways to get the shape of your brow on the bottom, and then twist it, kind of turn it, rotate it, if you will, to get the fine strokes going up. And it's really lovely. I actually really like this, and the shade is fantastic. It's not warm, it's just a good, cool neutral that looks really good for blonde. Let's see if the brow gel passes the muster as well. Passes the muster? Passes muster? Passes the mustard. Let me know in the comments. I know one of you is gonna know the answer. All right, let's try this brow gel. Nope, notice the same problem that I felt this had before when I've owned it. I think they reformulated it, but here's the thing. It's just too dry, but also too slippy at the same time. It just, like, when you're putting it on, it moves around a little bit more than you want it to, but it's simultaneously also too dry. And I do not like that. I think that it's possible that I'm just someone who prefers a clear brow gel. My favorite is the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. This just doesn't, it doesn't do anything for me. I just want my clear brow gel. So for highlighter, I picked up this Saie Rosy Gold Dew Balm. I am really hopeful for this just because I've liked that first one we put down, the glowy gel, super glowy gel. You guys, there's glitter all over my pants. And oh my goodness, you guys, I just want you to see what is going on here. Is this supposed to be, this is like really hard, really thick. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to, I feel like is something off? Am I crazy? Or You have to warm it up. Is this, I mean, you guys, like, look how thick this is. I mean, that, like, it's not even, you see it on my hand? It's not even like running. Like, look when I try to spread it out. It's very, ooh, did something, it's very gritty. I don't really want to put this on my face. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't really want to put this on my face. I'm gonna warm it up a little bit and see if we can get something going, but okay, as I warm it up, some of the grit is going away. But like, I mean, look how much is, oh my God, this is a disaster. Okay. We're gonna try a little bit. I've warmed it up and got a touch. I guess like you just need to, I mean, you barely take a little bit and then you have to really warm it up on the back of the hand is my guess. Again, I am not someone who enjoys products that have like a special manual with them. So I don't think this one is gonna do it for me. Like this is, I mean, my hand literally, like I'm so uncomfortable right now. Look, hand straight up and down. It's just stuck there. I get it. I get the function now. I understand now. You take just a tiny bit, you warm it up, and then you put it on. And it looks beautiful on the skin, but do I really want to have to work that hard? Probably not. Probably not. I could be wrong. Maybe I'll end up just falling in love with it. It'll just be so beautiful throughout the day. And when I look at myself in the mirror, I'll be like, you know what? It was totally worth having glitter poop on my hand for just a few minutes. Even though I feel like I've now used like half the tube, because I just was like, when it came out, I was like convinced, okay, there's something wrong with it. But now I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think this is just how it works, but oh, I don't like how it works. So not a very intuitive product. I have to say that. Not very intuitive at all. Looks lovely on the cheeks. A little bit sticky though. For lip liner, I picked up a lip liner from Melt Cosmetics. This is the shade Love Note. It just looked like a good, really lovely mauve color, and I love mauve. I've never tried any of their lip liners, and I just figured, hey, let's, you know, we've got their palette. We're trying their blush. Let's see if we like their lip liners. I love this shade. It is beautiful. The lip liner glides nicely. It doesn't drag, it doesn't skip, doesn't jump. And I really love this color. It is so beautiful. This just mauve kind of nude for my skin tone is, this is like my favorite shade. This is like my go-to lip liner shade. Really, really like this. I'm gonna put a liquid lip balm on top of this. I'm a big fan of this new thing where people are mixing like a lip gloss with lip balm. I just tend to love those. I find like they stay, they don't move around too much. They're just lovely in my experience when they're done properly. Fingers crossed this one is too. It is from Westman Atelier. This is the shade Chow Chow or Choo Choo. Not 100% sure. It just looks like a good milky pink. I love lip glosses that are like a nice milky pink to go over a nice lip liner. To me, that's just like such a beautiful combination, especially in the summer, because it's just so easy to keep up with throughout the day. Oh my goodness. This combo is perfect. Like the milkiness of this liquid lip balm over that mauve lip liner is fantastic. This is goals. I just think the color products knocked it out of the park today between the lip and then we've got this beautiful cheek. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with that bronzer duo, the contour bronzer duo from Patrick Ta. And this blush is just a gorgeous flattering shade for me. Apparently grapefruit is my color. I like it so much that the foundation is starting to grow on me. I thought it was flat at first, but I don't know. Now I feel like it's kind of a really nice base. I'm kind of digging it. If you're interested in seeing a full review of the Guerlain foundation, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I will have a full review with a wear test coming up in the next few days. I also have a full playlist of first impressions videos, so if these are your jam, I've got you because they are certainly my jam as well. I hope to see you over there and in my next video. Until then, you take care of yourself. Bye.